Well, over the last year, a nursing home, while continuing to provide heroic care, became a prison of isolation for so many people in their golden years. Now, a group of vocal advocates is demanding change. Sharing their stories of struggle.
Here we are, a year later.
Family members of Connecticut nursing home residents
It is time to make some positive changes.
recall the year of loneliness and isolation that was.
The responses were always, she's fine, her stats are the same, there's nothing we can do.
Lynn Norman recalled the virtual visits that led to a cognitive decline in her mother, Connie.
Through these connections, we could see her decline. Slowly, she stopped laughing, then smiling, then she no longer said her words. Then there was no reaction whatsoever. She just stared at us on the screen.
The sea of signs on the south lawn of the state capitol Friday read, "Isolation kills," each inscribed with the name of a lonely loved one who is either isolated in a nursing home or who passed away amid the COVID pandemic.
We have learned that locking families out has not kept COVID out.
Sharon Eckman's husband, Joe, suffers from Alzheimer's.
They need the power of touch, a hug, or holding their loved one's hand.
New federal guidance from the Center for Medicaid Services allows for an embrace. But the guidance is just that. It needs to be communicated, reinforced, and implemented by state authorities.
Connecticut DPH must inform all the residents and their families to the full extent of the guidance and enforce that guidance.
The group who organized the rally, Caregivers for Compromise, is also calling for Connecticut to join 17 other states in allowing a resident to have access to a designated essential support person, usually a family member,
who is equipped as staff is and has unimpeded access regardless of infection level.
Federal guidance now says indoor in-person nursing home visitations should be allowed at all nursing homes at all times, unless the county COVID positivity rate exceeds 10% and less than 70% of the residents in that nursing home are fully vaccinated.
This guidance out of the federal government is a step in the right direction. We too wait for the day when residents' rights are fully restored. We need to find a balance between medical care and social and emotional support.
And while today's rally was focused on policy changes and next steps, there will also be a rally at Hammonasset State Beach on Saturday. That one focusing more on remembering and honoring the residents in nursing homes. Reporting at the state capitol in Hartford, Matt Caron, Fox 61 News.